right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to Stretch with the Leader. I'm Melissa Wiseman here with Bill Hofmann this morning. Bill, it's great to have you here with us today. Look forward to hearing your Live Well moment. I'll hand it off to you, and then if you would like to hand it back to me once you've had a moment to go through your message. Unless you're wanting to stretch, lead the stretch today. That's awesome too.
Sounds great, Melissa. Thank you for the time. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Bill Hofmann. I am one of the VPs inside of Digital Technology Services. Responsibility over the business applications team as well as the desert region. Within that is also Classic Air and our transport services and how we support them from a DTS perspective as well. I wear many hats on many different occasions. So some of you might have seen me on bridge calls, might have seen me part of other things that you're like, well, that's not in your portfolio. We really kind of use a team approach within DTS. And so if anybody can help out on any situation, if we have an all hands on deck, we just kind of all come to the table and see what we can't get resolved there. For me, when I got the opportunity to be asked if I wanted to stretch with a leader and be part of this, I was pretty excited for two reasons. One, it brought me back to prior to Intermountain. I was with Legacy SCL. And then prior to that, I was at the Medical University of South Carolina for about a year working on their Epic implementation. And then before that, I was a VP and CIO at a smaller regional facility called Wilkes Regional Medical Center, which was a 135-bed hospital, about 10 ambulatory clinics in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, which was kind of in the foothills. The reason why I bring that up is when I joined that team, a lot of us were just super busy and we wanted to get into fitness and we wanted to change our lifestyles, but we always had an excuse. It was always, we had an outage last night and we had to work till 2 a.m. And so the time that I was going to spend working out, I just don't have time for, or we had an upgrade and we had to be in the office, et cetera, et cetera. And we started getting into CrossFit and Rich Froning, for those of you that are CrossFit fans, he's like superhuman, right? What he does and how he cares for his body. So we got real interested and kind of watched his documentary as we were toying around with, again, changing our fitness goals and getting involved in CrossFit. Through that process, we became motivated. And what we did was we said, what are our barriers and how do we remove those barriers, right? We had an old network closet that no longer had any network equipment in it, and it was vacant. And so we came with the idea of, wouldn't it be cool if we had a weight area in there where we had a couple of free weights in there, maybe had a bench in there. We could do, strength conditioning, but also some CrossFit activities if we had the right equipment. And again, what can we do here, right? And so we started off with literally a basketball that we cut open, filled with sand, and duct taped the darn thing. And we used that as a workout mechanism, doing sit-ups and then ball walls. And we started building not only a better mentality, but we also started coming together as a team. I have found that when you're in the trenches with one another, whether it's you're working on an issue or situation or exercising, when you give it your all and you're there with somebody and you see them giving that all, there's a bond that begins to be created there that, quite frankly, you just can't separate. We worked with the CEO at the time, and I went to his office one day. I said, Gene, I want to put a weight room in the old data closet. What are your thoughts there? And Gene was an old Navy guy, and he said, I love the idea, but let's get legal involved just to make sure that we've got all the right things in play that we can execute on that. And so he helped work with the attorney. We got waivers that were drafted, so anybody who wanted to work out, they would sign that waiver, which would release liability for the organization. And it was interesting because it started taking wind. We were in a ambulance building, so we shared the IT of that portion was with our ambulances. Did a separate building that was adjacent to the hospital, so it was about a 3-minute walk over to the hospital. Nurses started hearing that we were working out because when the days were nice, we would run around the campus as part of the program. And they would be like, what are the ITs guys? What are they doing? And like, oh, they're exercising. They've got this program that they've developed. And like, well, can we do that too? And so then I worked with the CNO and we got participation there. They signed the waivers and it really started building what I call a different approach to how we work together, right? Because it was always seen as potentially, and we see that sometimes here today with Intermountain where Is DTS an enabler or are they a barrier? Because we should always be an enabler to our business units, right? Now, again, sometimes we have to put up some walls to make sure that we do things correctly or go through the right processes or governance approvals and that sort of thing. That's our responsibility. But we never want to be a barrier. And so this actually built that bridge and those relationships to where it was, I now know who Bill is. I now know who Chad is. I now know who Josh is. And the pivoting point was one of my members, Josh, and he doesn't mind me sharing. He had diabetes, and it's is a type 2 that no matter what you do, you're always going to have diabetes. I can't remember the two types, but he was overweight as well, right? And so his insulin, once we got working out after 6 months, his insulin dependency dropped significantly. Now he still has diabetes, and he still has to, have his. He's got the one where it automatically connects and it gives him the insulin as he needs it. And when he measured that with his doctor, dropped significantly. And so, we care about each other, right? And we want everybody to, again, be as fit as they possibly can be. But it's not always attainable, and you have to do a program that is designed with the least common denominator, right? And so that everybody feels like they're involved. And so, although, yes, I may look different today than I looked before, I wasn't always as strong. I wasn't always as fit. And so I could only do certain things where I would get tired, but the team would push and push. And then we'd have waves, right? And so those that were ready for advanced, they go to advanced. Those that were beginners. But the environment is what I say that we created. And what we did was, in an effort to eliminate a barrier, or what I call an excuse, right? Because you can make all kinds of excuses why I don't have time. We eliminated that, and all of a sudden it was like, well, we don't have to go get in the car, go to a gym, check into a gym, get changed, go ahead and work out, now get back in, go back to work. We had it right there in our data center closet that was now vacated because we moved our data center down the road. Oddly enough, that was 12 years ago, and I still keep in contact with those people almost on a weekly basis. And so it built a forever bond between us. Personally, we have what's called Move Your Body time at my house. And that was something my wife developed. I have 4 kids. My oldest is 11, Lorelai, and then I have boy-girl twins who are 9, and that's Killian and Serafina. And then I have Graham, who's 6. And what we found is that when we don't move our bodies, we are a little less patient. We melt down a little bit more, and they're all high functioning autistic, which has its own set of challenges as well. But the Move Your Body is now, it used to be I don't want to move my body, Mom. Oh, come on. Like, well, do we really have to do this for 30 minutes? Can't we do something else? And it's like, yeah, we've got all day to do all the other stuff. I'm just asking for 30 minutes. And I promise you, your mind will appreciate that. And we started noticing a difference in how they tolerate changes within their schedule from an autistic standpoint when they do at least those 30 minutes of Move Your Body time. And it over the shift, so it took about 3 months of making them do it, right? Because they didn't want to do it. And we put on the YouTube videos that are kid friendly, like it's like, you're pretending like you're in a video game and you got to dodge things, because again, it's whatever you want to do, just keep your body moving for 30 minutes, right? It doesn't have to be anything structured, just keep on moving. We now are to a place where when the girls or the boys get short or have a little bit of a snippy attitude, if you will, the first question is, did you move your body today? No, I didn't. Okay, let me go to the basement and move my body, right? And then they come
Awesome.
up and we say, how do you feel? And like, oh, it feels so much better. And so when you look at sort of the 9 elements of the Be Well, right? Emotional, physical, financial, education, professional, cultural, environmental, social, spiritual. I think moving your body, and even if it's just stretching, because sometimes, and they're in activities, they're in dance, they're in karate, they're in swimming. And so like my daughter's a good example. Wednesdays are hard for her because Tuesday nights she swims, and she swims a lot. She swims for an hour and 15 minutes. And so when Wednesday morning comes around, she's a little sore. And so we modified it. And it's like, well, again, move your body could be anything you want as long as you're doing something. And so she does yoga now on Wednesday mornings, which actually helps with the recovery of the swimming and the taxing that had on the body. And so, when I look at the Be Well, Melissa, I kind of think that your emotional, your physical are all really tied to being able to move. And again, keep it simple, right? You don't have to have $1,000 weight sets in your garage. You don't have to have all these gym memberships. all you really need is yourself. Because there are a lot of exercises that you can do, stretching included, that at least get your mind in the right place. We all work in a stressful environment. We're in healthcare, right? And we have a responsibility to our patients, which again can be very mentally taxing on us, especially those of you that are in patient care, when there's adverse events that happen that you can't help, and you have patients that, again, they pass, or you're in a trauma situation, right? It's taxing. This is time that you could take for yourself, right? Take that time for yourself and decompress. And while you're decompressing, stretch your body and allow your mind to fully go through that decompression process. And again, I'm not certified in any area of this type of thing. I just know from personal experience that my wife will tell me, hey, go to the garage and work out for 30 minutes, then come back inside, right? And then I come back inside, Bill. And she's like, you're in a much better mood. So that's sort of my 2 cents here to kick us off on Stretch with a Leader. And just, Melissa, thank you for having me. And I don't know if folks, if you do a Q&A before you get to stretching, it's totally up to you. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have for me, but I'll flip it back to you now, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Bill. Such a great connector on so many different levels here this morning. So really appreciate that. We've got about 5 more minutes before we end the call, actually. So we'll do a few minutes of stretching, but really appreciate your time and, your Be Well moment, sharing that with us on, a couple different faucets. So very great information, great reminders. And with that, everyone, let's get up and move our bodies for a moment. We'll stretch. So please take care of you. Do what feels good to you. Bill, you're welcome to stay on the camera with me if you'd like. Otherwise, let's get up on our feet, everyone. We'll try to do a little head to toe with the last few minutes that we have here. So bring your feet about shoulder width, and we're going to bend our knees and sweep our arms up, stretch tall, look up, and take a side stretch over to your right, just lengthening out, relax that left shoulder, reach that right hand towards the floor, and then take the hands up over to the left. Oh, it always feels good to just stretch and open up. Let's goalpost the arms, find that space through the chest. And then lift your hands back high, look up, exhale, let it go. I always like to kind of head to toe it. So gaze over that right shoulder, drop the chin through center, over to the left, bring it back over. And one more time over to that left shoulder. Bring it back up. Roll the shoulders up, down, and back. One more time. And then reach your hands back. Let's find that chest expansion here. Find that space. You can interlace fingers if that's accessible to you. Just gently stretching your body. One more breath right here. And let's shake that out a little bit. Bring your hands to your hips and let's widen our stance just a little bit about shoulder width, little hip circles here. Drop over to your left, half circle over to the right, and maybe make it a little fuller. Couple more here. And then let's reverse that direction. Just check it in with how you're feeling today, always being mindful and listening to your body. No pains or strains out there. All right, everyone, let's take it into a wider stance, just a little lateral lunge next. So slight turn out of the toes, shift the hips back and just over to that left side. You can rest the hands to the top of that left thigh. Again, no pain or strain, nice and gentle. Couple more minutes of some stretch with me over to that right side. Let's even it out. Nice little length through the inner thigh. Thanks again for sharing all the ideas in the chat too. Love the recipes and activities. All right, we're going to do a little cat and cow. So bring the hands to the top of the thighs, hinge forward. So navel in and then drop the belly, open the chest, look up with the exhale, round the back, chin to chest. Nice fluid movement. Open the chest, look up, breathe in. Great big exhale to round it out. Let's do one more forward and back. And then slowly peel it up, roll up, let the crown of the head come up last. Sweep and reach the arms up. Great big exhale, let it go. Let's stretch our legs just for one moment. Right foot forward, that heels down, the toes are dorsiflexed, hips shift back again into that imaginary chair. Slight soft bend in that right knee, or bend it as much as you need to. We're just going to reach out towards the right foot, take the hands up, look up, lift up, exhale, lower, just ease in forward and come all the way up, lower down. One more time. Let's release and relax, switching sides, left leg lengthens, heel down, flex the toes, ease back. Now you can stay and hold the static stretch if that feels better. Otherwise, we'll flow through it a little here. Inhale, lift, lower that left foot, release the arms. Come back, stretch through that hamstring, out through the calf muscle. One more time here, reach through the left foot, take the hands up, and then exhale, let it go. All right, one more, reach of the arms, sweep it up, take that left wrist, gently pull to your right side. Back up through center, right wrist over to the left. And reach through the fingertips. Let's float the hands back to the side. Thanks so much for joining our Stretch with the Leader. And again, thank you, Bill, for your Be Well moment with us this morning.